Vocals are your most important input, and they're the most dynamic one. Today we're going to look at vocal compression. If you missed the vocal EQ tutorial, there's a link in the description below. Vocal compression pins it in place so it can stay in your face. We want to have vocals that are clear in every part of the phrase, from the loud parts and the quiet parts. Compression can shape the dynamic range of a vocal, but it can also shape the tone of a vocal, and that's what we're going to go over today. Now, my goal with vocal compression is not to have it so that my fingers go off the faders and it rides it automatically the whole time. I'm still going to be engaged with the faders and riding them up and down as the music needs it. What I don't want to do is have to chase them around, where each part of the phrase or each part of the vocal range, I want to have hands off for that. I want to be in the music and be feeling it to take the dynamics up or back down when it needs to be gentle. Set it and forget it is for chumps and rotisserie cookers. Now, compression can also change the tone. When singers go from low and quiet to high and loud, there's a really big tone difference, and the compressor can help us with that too. When I'm setting up my compressor, I go ahead and set the threshold all the way up so that I'm not compressing at all. I preset my ratio to 4:1 and I set my knee to soft. This gives me a nice gentle transition between in compression and out of compression when the singer's going from the really quiet parts to the really loud parts. I'll also go ahead and preset my release time to about 250 milliseconds, and I'll set my attack time to anywhere between 12 and 15 milliseconds for a starting place. Now, with these starting places, I'm going to listen and start to roll down my threshold until I get about the amount of compression that I want. Then I'm going to really hear what the tone change is happening, and then I can adjust my attack time slower or faster depending on what tone change I want to make. All right, watch how on the compressor the gain reduction comes back up for the quieter parts of the phrase. This helps even out the phrase so that all of the lines come back up and stay in our face. Remember, compression pins it in place so it can stay in our face.
You conquer death, and you came back to life.
All right, now let's listen to that same line without compression.
You conquer death, and you came back to life.
Did you hear on the first line how death kind of sunk back into the mix when life kind of really jumped out at you? We're trying to even it out so that it's smooth through the whole phrase of what they're singing. All right, now let's listen to the transition between the verse and the chorus and watch how the compression pushes harder on it so that it can stay in one place. We're still gonna ride our faders, we're still gonna make sure it's out on top, but it's gonna make it a lot easier for us to not have to shoot at a moving target all the time.
But we'll never die. You are our heart's desire. Come as a healer, shout your name over us. You are the mighty redeemer.
All right, so you see how it didn't jump up too much. Let's listen to it without compression this time and hear the difference.
But we'll never die. You are our heart's desire. Come as a healer.
All right, so you can already see how it smoothed out our transition when we had the compression on, and it got a lot more jumpy when we took the compression off. This is one of the things that compression is going to make you sound more professional. It's going to make your vocals feel like they're right in one place, and you're not chasing them around in your mix so much. Now, the other part of compression is the tone change. One secret to compression is that a faster attack time makes it thinner, while a slow attack time makes it thicker. When our voice gets harsher when they're singing louder and higher, we want to counteract that with a slower attack time rather than a faster attack time. Sometimes a really fast attack time can be helpful, but it has to be used more sparingly. These slower attack times can get you a lot of compression and not destroy your vocal. All right, let's listen to this opening line of the chorus with a faster attack time and then a slower attack time, and notice the difference.
You are our heart's desire. Come as a healer.
All right, let's slow it down and see what the difference is.
You are our heart's desire. Come as a healer.
Did you notice how it got thicker when I slowed down the attack time? Now that's the trick that's going to make you a pro. Now your compressor might have a peak mode or RMS mode on it. RMS is going to be essentially slower because it's looking for average signal levels, but peak mode is going to respond to the instantaneous changes of the input level. So let's turn our attack time pretty fast and then switch back and forth between peak mode and RMS and hear the difference.
You are our heart's desire. Come as a healer. Shout your name over us. You are the mighty Redeemer. You are the one we want. Come in your power. Shout your name over us. You are the heart of the Father.
Did you notice that as we went into peak mode, it got a little squashed? When we went back to RMS, even with a fast attack time, it felt a lot more open. So again, peak mode, run slower. RMS mode, you can run faster. For release times, I set my release time about 250 for vocalists. Now, if you have somebody that has a lot of syllables coming at you really quickly, a faster release time is going to help you get those back up so that it's more even. That also works well on preachers and speakers, so keep that in mind. Now, one place where vocal compression really comes in handy is in background vocals. Without compression, the background singers come in and out in their different parts. Watch as we compress it, they're gonna stay a lot more consistent and you're gonna get that fuller sound.
You are the one we want. Come in your power. Shout your name over us. You are the mighty Redeemer. You are the one we want. Come in your power. Shout your name over us. You are the heart of the Father.
Did you hear how they stayed more consistent in the mix? And so that our blend got a lot better, especially as their parts are moving up and down and in and out. They're moving into different parts of their vocal range. It's gonna stay a lot more consistent when we compress them. Now, one part of compression is gain structure. We wanna make it so that we're setting ourselves up for success. We're not having to chase our faders around. Our faders are working for us. So if you end up using a lot of compression and so then you have to push your fader up to make up for it, the makeup gain is the place where you can boost that up so that you can bring your fader back down to 0. Setting our faders at 0 gives us the most control over our balance and fine-tuning the adjustments for our levels. Now, sometimes I can really squash my vocals and get that really in-your-face sound. But if I've got a really noisy stage, like a drum kit that doesn't have any shield, or a really loud PA that's really close, I'm gonna run into feedback problems or I'm gonna run into noise problems. That's when I'll have to run my compression a little bit lighter and use a little bit more of my digital compressor. There's some texts that will say that you can't ever go past 6 dB of compression on vocals. But if you get the attack and the release time set right, I can go to 10 or 12 dB of compression without any problems, as long as the noise issues aren't there. Now, another caveat is this is not what I send to their monitor mix. They need to be able to hear a mostly uncompressed signal going to their ears. So if I'm running one channel that's going both to front of house and to monitors, I'm gonna run the compression a lot lighter in that situation. Overcompressing a singer in their monitor mix is a surefire way to get them to push too hard and to strain, and they'll have pitch problems, and that's no fun for anybody.
When someone says a line from a lyric of a song, do you automatically start singing it? Do you harmonize with radio jingles? You may have musical Tourette's. Musical Tourette's is a real disease with real symptoms. Although there is no cure, you can annoy all your friends.
Now you know how to compress vocals like a pro. You're gonna have an easier time getting a great worship mix and keeping your vocals out in front. Be sure to check out my other tutorials and comment below to let me know what you thought. Hit subscribe and ding the little bell so that you can get notified every time I post a new video. I've got new content coming out every Thursday to help you make every worship mix an enjoyable one. We'll see you next time.